Hey friends, it's Steve with Real Progressives. I'm doing it from the car, baby. I'm doing it from the car. I had no choice. I was riding down the road. I'd cut my grass for the first time today. And, when I cut the grass, I've got 3 acres to cut. So it's a lot of property to cut. As I'm sitting there cutting this grass, I'm thinking to myself, what should I listen to? And all of a sudden, brand new to me, Machine Head comes on. And I'm like, I've got to listen to this. And so this song called Old kicks in. Now, if you guys aren't metalheads, you got to forgive me because I am a born-again metalhead. I like a lot of music, though, so I'm not only metal. But this particular song called Old, it was just driving, and I could just imagine burying my fist just nonstop as I'm sitting there listening to it. It was just powerful. Powerful song. Anyway, flash forward. And I'm looking at the messages in our YouTube channel, tending to old live streams and stuff like that. And there's an Austrian Economics guy that comes in. And he says, 22 trillion in debt, real. Hyperinflation, Weimar Republic, real. Hyperinflation, Zimbabwe, real. Hyperinflation, this, that, and the other, real. Keynesian printing money, not real. This is stupid, blah, blah, blah. Look what happened to Greece. Look, and he just kept going on and on and on about it. And I got so... Just the timing was perfect. I have Machine Head playing Old over here. And I've got an Austrian guy sitting there piping off about hyperinflation over there. And this is like the perfect storm. All the energy and rage coming from Machine Head, and then you've got dumbass material coming over here trying to talk to me about hyperinflation. And man, when the thunderheads clapped, it was like, wham! And I said, all right, I'm going to listen to my song. I'm going to get my song out of my system because this song is just as good as it gets. I haven't heard metal this good in freaking a long time. I mean, it's been a long time since I felt the urge, okay? So I figured I'll go ahead and go live about, this hyperinflation thing. I've done this before, but it seems to be one of those subjects that no matter how many times you talk about it, it keeps coming up. And so I figured let's just address some of the boogeymen real quick, get them out of the way. And then I'll do a proper live stream tonight so we can talk more about it. So the guy came up and started talking about, the national debt. And the national debt is constantly being pushed out there by the Mercatus Institute and all these other folks, the CBO, every politician, every news channel, you name it, is talking about the national debt. And it's been going on, God, I just turned 50, so at least 50 years we've been talking about it. And I know it's been a hell of a lot longer, okay? But the national debt is no big deal, man. It's no big deal at all. In fact, it's no deal. So the government has decided that it's going to sell treasury bonds. And it's going to use those treasury bonds, which are nothing more than savings accounts, okay? They're nothing more than savings accounts. And they sell these treasury bonds because they want to take and delay purchasing power for a period of time. Their goal is to delay purchasing power for a period of time. So that money is removed, quote unquote, from the productive economy, and it's put into some sort of a debt instrument. Now, we can get into details some other time about all the different ways debt instruments can be used as liquidity and stuff, but that's not what this is about. This is just about the national debt. So they sell these treasury bonds to defend what they call a positive interest rate. In other words, if they want to say the money it costs, the percentage, the interest rates that we're going to charge banks for borrowing money, for lending out money, is 2% or 3% or whatever the percentage is, 1%, 0%, then that is the interest rate, okay? And what the idea behind selling treasury bonds is to defend a positive, in other words, greater than 0 interest rate. And so they sell these treasury bonds and they adjust the interest rates accordingly, and that's how they keep interest rates low. That's their idea anyway, but it's bullshit. We could stop selling bonds yesterday. Okay, all bonds are today, because they do not finance government spending at all. Bonds are purchased with existing U.S. dollars. They do nothing. They're nothing. There's nothing to this at all. Do you understand? Literally nothing to this at all, except a handout to the wealthy. Because who can afford treasury bonds? Well, it's either the uber wealthy, or it might be your 401k plan buying safe investments and buying bonds, or it might be a pension plan buying bonds, or it might be a state buying bonds for a safe investment. The interest rate comes in, it helps them pay bills in their state. So there's good reasons to sell bonds, there's bad reasons to sell bonds. Ultimately, though, none of them have to do with anything about us being in some horrible debt. These are already existing U.S. dollars being used to purchase bonds. So the saying is that the national debt is actually the net money supply to the penny. So when you think about the net money supply is, and you think about what debt is, debt, like a country like the United States, who creates its own currency, is not debt at all, provided it's the one it's borrowing its own money from. Okay? And it's creating its own money, and its debt is denominated in its own money, and it is not actually borrowing Chinese money. China is buying U.S. treasuries with existing U.S. dollars. So we're not going into Chinese debt. Chinese are taking their existing U.S. dollars from sale of goods inside the United States and purchasing treasuries. Nothing more. Absolutely nothing more. So Mr. 22 trillion, yes, over the course of the history of our entire country, $22 trillion has left into the economy as the net money supply. If we pay off the debt, we eliminate money from the entire economy. It's ridiculous. So the 22 trillion is just the net money supply of untaxed U.S. dollars. Doesn't sound very scary anymore, does it? Doesn't sound very scary at all. All right, next thing. He throws up the typical Zimbabwe, Argentina. Actually, he didn't bring up Argentina. I couldn't believe it. Just Zimbabwe, Weimar Republic, and, typical Greece. He throws in Greece. Now, I want y'all to understand, this is people taking spaghetti and throwing it at the wall, trying to find a way to make something stick. All right? But let's talk about all the differences, all the key differences that are going on here. Number one, Greece is not monetarily sovereign. Greece is like the state of Delaware. Greece is like maybe, I don't know, the state of Nebraska. It's not like a country on its own merits that has its own monetary policy, its own monetary system, its own currency, like the drachma, which it used to be on. It's now on the euro, so it's lost its monetary sovereignty. So whenever it goes into debt, it goes into foreign debt, debt it has no control over. So in the euro area, nations that use the euro as their currency, they have given up monetary sovereignty and have given it over to the European Union, the ECB and the Troika. They've given up all ability to control their own currency. So now if they're not a net importer, a net exporter, then they are going to have problems constantly, because the only way to get money in is private debt. They've lost the ability to create their own currency. So the United States is a net importer. Why does that matter? Well, you need to understand sectoral balances. Private debt, public debt, rest of world. Well, the United States is a currency issuer, unlike Greece, which is a currency user. The United States can create money whenever it freaking needs to. And it doesn't borrow foreign countries' money. It doesn't. Foreign countries want to save in U.S. dollars, but the U.S. government doesn't borrow Chinese yuan. It doesn't borrow Japanese yen. It doesn't borrow Australian dollars. It doesn't borrow anything. Do you understand? When it borrows, it just means it's creating its own currency. Do you understand this? This is pretty freaking easy to get. It really is. The United States creates its own currency. So when it borrows its own currency, all it's doing is selling treasury bonds to delay purchasing power. It didn't delete that money. Bottom line is it's not in debt. But Greece, however, is in debt. And Greece can drown very easily because it cannot absorb the shocks to its economy. So why would this Austrian Economics Ron Paul guy come to me as if I'm the one that doesn't know? But there he is saying, what about the 22 trillion? I mean, he's saying it like he knows what's going on too. I mean, he is talking like he is just straight up dropping bombs. And remember, I'm listening to Machine Head Old, and I put the link in the narrative so you guys get to experience a song Old by Machine Head. That's how great it is. I want you to hear it. It's badass. And when I do it, I want you to think of somebody talking to you about hyperinflation and have that music playing in the background. You feel that? Anyway, long story short. And then we want to talk about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe. Folks, when people print money, that's not what's causing hyperinflation. The problem is that you could have $1 trillion sitting there, but if you've only got 3 ears of corn, what's going to happen to the price of those 3 ears of corn if there's 1,000 people begging for those 3 ears of corn? That's your hyperinflation. Your hyperinflation has nothing to do with printing money. Printing money comes way after the hyperinflation. Hyperinflation comes way, 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 way before the printing of money. The printing of money is a result after the fact. So why would somebody say something about this as if they knew? Why would they come to me and say, you don't know what you're talking about? Again, listen to the song Old by Machine Head and envision this guy telling you all about hyperinflation. Trust me, listen to the song, you'll get the mood. It will do wonders for you. So let's talk about this. Zimbabwe, we've said this before. For those of you who've never heard this is an important story. Mugabe took away the farmland from the colonizers, from the white farmers that had come in from out of town, so to speak, and taken over their farmland. He yanked it back from them. Noble move on Mugabe's part, but the people didn't know how to farm the land. So guess what? Their productive capacity dropped some 60 to 70%. They didn't have nearly enough food or any other industry to absorb the money. So the hyperinflation occurred when the production couldn't meet the demands and the money was of no object anymore. They didn't care. The money didn't matter. They wanted food. They needed food. They had no food. So why would this guy throw Zimbabwe at me as if printing money was something that I didn't know about? Why again would I have to go through that with him? Because he said it like he knew what he was talking about, folks. Do you understand? It's not a problem when someone says, I don't understand this. What happened? But when you come to me and I'm listening to Machine Head, I'm listening to Old by Machine Head, and this guy is talking to me about Zimbabwe again. Folks, you need to understand. This has been asked and answered 4 million times. The productive capacity of Zimbabwe it was completely shot. The people were starving. You could have brought a barrel of money in there and it wouldn't have bought the food that was there because there wasn't enough food. Now let's go to the favorite 1920s Weimar Republic. We've already been through this so many times, but let's just do it one more time. Weimar Republic. Those guys, those dudes with the pointy German helmets, they went ahead and tried to run game on the world one more time during World War I. And when they got crushed by the Allies, France did what France does and imposed extremely harsh penalties. So harsh that they couldn't be met. So harsh that it destroyed the country of Germany and made the people destitute. They made the debt payable only in French francs. The German people could not produce enough goods and services to meet the needs of their countrymen. Their money was no good because the debt that was holding them back from getting the real resources was held in French francs. So needless to say, the hyperinflation occurred long before the printing of money happened. It had nothing to do with printing money. You're going to see over again that there's several key things that most people mess up big time when it comes to economics. The first question you have to ask is who is the currency issuer and who is the currency user? Are they monetarily sovereign or are they pegged to a commodity like gold? If they are, they don't have monetary sovereignty anymore. They've lost their sovereignty by pegging to gold or to a foreign currency. If they're a currency issuer like the United States is, and very much unlike Greece, then currency issuers have a lot of flexibility provided they have a free-floating, non-convertible fiat currency, which the United States does have and has had since Bretton Woods Accord in 1971 ended. Now, again, Greece is no longer on the drachma. Greece has given up monetary sovereignty. Greece is now a colony, if you will. And they don't have the ability to just print money to solve their needs. Well, the U.S. does. Because it's not about the money. The money's never the issue. It's about, do we have the real resources, the goods and services that we need? And if the answer is yes, then we don't have any issues like that. But if the answer is no, then we've got major issues and we're going to have hyperinflation and so on and so on. Well, we won't have hyperinflation to start. We'll have inflation, and then it will become the hyperinflation stuff. But ultimately, when people talk about hyperinflation and they come in asking it genuinely and they don't understand, I will never, ever, ever be angry at them because this is something that we all have to learn. But when someone comes in puffing up, chest out, chin stuck forward, ready to get knocked out, well, I'm going to deliver them a machine head knockout. And that's the way it's going to go down because I can't stand when people puff up like they know something when they don't know something. And I feel it my duty on this earth to smite them down when they do it. I don't cajole them. I don't hug them. I don't whisper sweet nothings in their ear. I go for the full throat punch because I can't stand when people mislead other people. It is too much misinformation out there right now. Too much misinformation out there right now. And we need to have truth reigning supreme. And so when somebody says that MMT is just stupid Keynes, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. MMT is the underlying economic system the description of how a free-floating fiat currency works, period. End of story. It's not a question of some weird theory, some theoretical idea about printing money. It's none of that. People that say that, idiot, loser, microphone abuser. Should not be speaking, should be asking questions only. But when you have a situation where people want to learn about modern monetary theory because it is that vital right now to a Green New Deal, it's that vital to us getting full employment. It's that vital for us to learn how to get health care. And it's that vital for us to end student debt. So when you think about all that stuff in the environment, etc., and you want to talk to me about hyperinflation, folks, you just better hope to God I'm not listening to Machine Head at the time. That's all I got to say. And this guy ran straight into it. I'm telling you, check the song out, Old by Machine Head. It is badass. It's got a riff in there that just makes me want to put my fist in the air, throw my head back, and scream a metalhead scream like you never heard before. Check it out. Anyway, I'll see you guys tonight at 10 p.m. I'll be doing a show. Most likely it'll be a deeper dive on some of the issues I've touched on today and a few other things that I've gone along the way. Look forward to seeing you all again, 10 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time, Real Progressives. Have a good day, everybody. I'm out.